Welcome to the Benchwarmers. My name is Ian.
And I'm Noah.
Yeah, you're back with us again for another week. So welcome back.
Episode
Not much has happened. In
2.
fact, very little has happened.
But, we're still here,
We're still here.
right?
Um, yeah, doing good. Filming another podcast.
You know, casting pods.
Casting pods and pod and casts. And we are back, and we're giving you a scoop on everything. Not everything, because we don't know a whole lot,
I mean, we're
but we
not
do
out
know
here
some.
scooping dog poop off the lawns and bagging it.
Basically what we're doing. We're bagging it, we're picking it up, bagging it, and you're picking up what we're putting
Bagging
down.
what I'm mowing.
Yeah,
It's the
you're
same.
mowing what I'm bagging. You're bagging what I'm mowing. I don't Doesn't matter what order, you're saucing what I'm eating. Don't matter. So, a topic has arisen. And this happened a while ago.
This may have been it's an old thing, but
Yeah,
it's pretty funny to talk.
this will be an old thing by the time we talk about it. But at the time of recording this, it's not new, but it's been going on. It's kind of a little old now at the time we're talking about it, but I just feel like we should address it since this is a loosely based sports podcast.
Yeah.
So James Harden.
Now, for those of you who don't know, he's not on Houston anymore if you've been living under a rock.
You've been absolutely living under a complete rock, dead, gone. You obviously know about the James Harden trade.
It's
Traded
huge.
from Houston, and it's
What
quite
was the contract?
I don't even know what his contract was. We don't know a whole lot, but I can get it up right quick as we're talking about this. But yeah, James Harden. It's quite a controversial thing, his trade, because everybody was speculating that he didn't want to be in Houston, obviously, because he was doing a bunch of weird stuff before he got traded. Like, he didn't show up to practice for the first little while, and people were saying it was because of COVID measures, and then they were saying no, it's because he wants to get traded. And then it came out that they offered him a contract to renew his contract, and he said, "Just get me to Brooklyn." That's all he said.
Why Brooklyn?
I don't know. I feel like he might have contacts. Like, I know him and Kevin Durant did play together back in the day.
Yeah, maybe he wants to be there.
But I feel like he has some connections with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. So maybe that's it. Maybe he just didn't want to be in Houston anymore, which I feel like that's. I just feel. I don't know. It's hard to tell with these sports players, their decisions and what goes into it. But obviously something was wrong. He wasn't enjoying it. He was upset with the management or upset with coaching or something.
Yeah.
Um,
There's always a reason. What I wanted to get into was that the dude looks kind of messy.
The dude, yeah, and this is what I was gonna say. This is what I was gonna say earlier. But we saved this topic for the podcast, solely for the podcast, because we felt it would be very suiting for the podcast. So yeah, I was watching a video, James Harden. This was actually the other night at the time of recording this, and the announcer was just completely ruthless. The announcer, they came on, and the announcer was like, "And here we have James." This is when they were warming up, not even started the game yet, and James Harden was just dribbling around, getting warmed up, And the announcer was like, "Here we have James Harden. Definitely didn't miss his pregame meal." The dude,
Like, I've seen for one, if you guys haven't seen the memes, like, there's been some memes, and this man, like, he literally left it all behind, I think.
Yeah, he said, "I'm leaving." In fact, he took the carbs with him. In fact, he took the weight with him.
I think he just left his barber and his nutritionist in Houston.
Yeah. But the thing is, before he got traded, he was seen at a bunch of clubs with different people, all while like this COVID thing was going on. It was really weird. Like, people were questioning, like, what is James Harden really, like, what is he doing?
Yeah, not that like to each his own if he wants to do whatever, but like when you're like is he just letting him, if he's just letting, maybe he's just found an opportunity just to enjoy life now. Maybe he thought he was taking the game too seriously.
He's like, you know what? He was like, if I got to go out there and score 50 plus points every night and still can't win, then I just want to enjoy life at this point. The man was holding everything together, but Just they just couldn't get it flowing. Well, I mean, they weren't a bad team. Obviously,
They were
every
there.
year they were contenders. They
They
were
were
up there.
consistent. I feel like they
Yeah,
were a type of there's different types of teams in sports, but in the NBA that I've noticed, like in basketball, and you get them. You got your really strong teams, which is usually only like two, which is right now is LA and Golden State, but you can argue Golden State right now because of what they did, what's going on.
yeah, not Golden State anymore, but that's what it
But
used
they
to be.
will
Well,
be. They still are. Once Klay Thompson returns, they're still going to be
yeah,
good, right?
yeah,
So you got these two really good teams, and then you got your middle of the road teams that are always good. They're consistently good. Like they're not crazy good. They're not bad. They're just like in their hard working teams, and I feel like Houston falls in that realm of
yeah.
just really
I
like
feel like
good, a hard working team.
yeah, I feel like there's kind of three different levels because there's almost like a middle in between those, and I feel like Houston kind of falls in the middle. They're like stats wise and just looking at their player list, you think they got a good group of guys here. They all work hard. They should be winning. They should be able to win a title. And yes, they're contenders every time, but they can't make the finals. They still can't make the finals.
No, I
So
mean
I feel like they fall in that middle ground to where on paper they should be a really good team. Um, but they are, but it's just you can't rely on one man.
the question is, right? Like everyone looks at Brooklyn, right, from the outside on paper as saying like, oh yeah, they're going to be a good team because of their players, right? You got Kevin Durant, good player. You got James Harden, unreal shooter, good player, right? And you got Kyrie Irving. But we all know one of those three players is a person who likes to be the numero uno on the team, or at least he liked to be in the past. And so, does that result in the team lacking because of that? Because we all
It,
know who that one player is, and he likes to have the ball. He likes to be that person, like the
yeah,
ball person.
yeah. So the thing is, it's always weird with these teams because I find when you mash a bunch of good players together, it often doesn't result in what you expect. Just take Los Angeles Clippers for instance. They're not a bad team. Obviously, they have all these good players. They can't be a bad team. It's impossible. You literally have some of the best players in the NBA. Kawhi Leonard included in with that. So you have Kawhi Leonard. That's just one of those players that's just will make your team better. You also got Paul George. Haven't been performing the way he used to lately, but
Paul
still a
George
great player.
is kind of on a decline. I feel like he's going the Carmelo Anthony route.
Yeah, I know.
Not that
He's not been playing like he should be.
he's not the Pacers Paul George that everyone knows.
No. Now
Like the
things might be
360
different
dunk.
at the time of uploading, but
Maybe a hot take here, but feel like he hasn't been the same since he broke his leg.
that could be
Right?
it too.
I mean, he did.
Nope.
He broke his leg, and then it seems like he hasn't been the same
Yeah,
since.
because he went to OKC. I think did he go Pacers OKC?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's where he went because he after he broke his leg, he was with the Pacers, right? And then
Yeah,
he moved. I don't know if he moved after that or when. I think he went right to OKC after that.
he
Yeah,
went to OKC
and
when
then
he got
I've
in
never heard of
OKC.
him. He's
No,
sort of
yeah, no, he's been performing not great lately. Now, at the time of uploading, he might have had this crazy streak and
he was
went
like
insane, but
he was like a DeMar DeRozan type player in my opinion.
yeah,
Like a drive, like a good mid range shot, a good pull up jump. He had a good pull up jumper, and he could drive.
yeah, and three was decent. Three
His three
pointer
was
was
decent. He's just an all around scorer, a good scorer. Same thing with
yeah,
DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan's an all around good scorer. He's just an all
yeah,
around good player.
and he was an all-star player, one of the best all-star players. But he's been on a not so great streak.
Some of them, like Carmelo Anthony, I feel like once they get to the point, they go down fast. I don't know why, But like I don't know if
Yeah.
it's just because
But
they.
to give Carmelo Anthony the benefit of the doubt, I don't think he was put in a position that he was supposed to be placed in where he can perform at his max ability. They were, I don't know. I don't feel like he was played the way he should have been when he got taken back by teams like Portland and stuff like that. I just feel like he wasn't played the way he should have been played. I feel like he could have been utilized a lot more than what he was. But getting back to the LA Clippers. So yeah, you have teams like the LA Clippers who you mash a bunch of all-stars or previous all-star players together and on paper should be a great team. They're just not they're not what is expected. And I feel like that's a lot of cases. And why I think it's so different for Golden State is because that team developed like those players weren't always all stars on the team. Like Steph Curry wasn't always an all star. Klay Thompson wasn't always an all star. On Draymond Green, all those players, they weren't all stars. They grew together with the Warriors and grew as a team to make a whole team great. And I feel like jamming a bunch of all star players together, it can be great, can be very good. Like the Lakers turned out to be really good. But
Sometimes though it depends on the one like the all-star the players. Sometimes players
yeah,
like to be the one because they're a leader and they feel like they just need to be that person
yeah,
with the ball.
and
They need to have
a lot of it can be coaching as well. They're not managing the players the way they should be.
properly.
Yeah,
Why do like I think which player probably has a lot to say in this in the league, but like when we get so many good players together, like for example, what I think would be great, say if they had a because I think when LeBron went to Cleveland, they tried it. When LeBron went to Cleveland, I think they tried to bring Kyrie off the bench.
yeah. I'm not sure.
There was a player in Cleveland. And maybe it's not Kyrie, but there was a player in Cleveland that they tried to bring off the bench, and he didn't like it. There was a player that or whatever that was on there. Anyway, he was going to be coming off the bench, and he didn't like it. And it was a six man. But I feel like that if you put so many good players on a team, I feel like you could do that and be beneficial. Why can't you put a why do they have to be all on say the starting lineup? Yeah, you can be on the starting lineup with players. Yeah, I understand like you want Kyrie, Kevin Durant and James Harden all on the same line cuz you got what? I'm pretty sure Kyrie but Kevin Durant and James Harden are the same position. They're
Yeah,
both aren't they both small forwards?
yeah. You mean
James Harden's a shoot or is James Harden a shooting guard?
James Harden is shooting guard. Kyrie can play point guard. That like, and then Kevin Durant is a small forward, I believe. Small
Yeah.
forward. Yeah. So, or I think he can play. I think he plays sometimes as well as a power forward, but I think he's mainly
He
small
does play
forward.
post. I think they can rotate him if they wanted to
Yeah.
because of his height.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Actually, that might be his main position, power forward. Um, or small forward.
Yeah,
Either
small
one of
forward.
those.
I thought James Harden played small forward, but he can also be a shooting guard, I guess. He'd be a very powerful shooting guard.
Yeah.
He also played point
Yeah.
guard with
I
Houston.
think I'm pretty sure James Harden is a small as a shooting guard.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like that could be a way of managing the team well, is if you kind of span your players out so you can play them not all at the same time. If they're not working together properly, play the players that do uh, play well together.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what I mean. Like, there's no shame in spacing them.
yeah, just start. But I feel like it's just that whole like merit thing of being on the starting lineup. It's just they can't get over
Yeah,
that.
because I'm a all-star player, I had to be on the starting lineup. But like, I feel
Yeah.
like you can be just as good as a player and come off the bench.
Yeah.
Some players plays better off the bench. I
Yeah.
found like you Toronto Raptors example. I found Fred Van Vliet coming off the bench, unreal.
Yeah. And well, the insanely good case to back that up is Lou Williams.
Yeah,
They he played his whole
career as a
most
six man.
of his career as a six man, and he played it extremely well. And in an interview with him, he said that he was asked like when will you be starting, or do you feel like you should be starting? He said, I just do what the coaches ask, and right now I'm playing well off the bench. He said
Yeah.
something along those
Why
lines.
not? I don't understand why
Yeah,
it's such a bad rep to be a six man. You're not a bench player, and
yeah,
you're a six man. You're just sitting out for that first little bit, and then you come off the bench. If
yeah,
you bring a player off the bench, I feel like some players would. I feel like some coaches should play around with that instead of
yeah,
just shoving all your
and
best players on the top line. I know that
yeah,
seems like a go-to thing to do in basketball in the NBA because that's what every team does. They shove every good player on the first line and just being
yeah,
like, yeah, work it out, figure it out, right?
yeah.
Because they just assume you're good so you can all work together. But that's not always the case.
No, no, that can be seen a lot throughout these like super teams that are, well, potential super teams that are trying to get built, like the Clippers and the Lakers and well, Brooklyn now. I feel like it's always hard to tell. You look on because at the beginning, before these trades are done, you look on paper and you're like, man, these guys got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, they got James Harden. On paper, it looks insane and probably will be insane. But there's always that possibility that they don't work quite well together, or they have this chemistry that is not
Uh,
quite
I
there.
I
But
think it's going to be.
my prediction is that Brooklyn, I think, is going to work out. I think, um, but you never know.
Yeah, they could be a good team. We need, in my opinion, the league is it's kind of balanced right now.
Yeah, the league
Compared
is
to what it was in the last couple of years. The last couple of years has been like I just got fed up with the salary caps, the so-called salary caps, and then being able to stack six all-stars on one team. It doesn't always make sense to me, but anyway, I think the league now is balanced, and that's what it should be. It should be balanced because, like I said, I
yeah,
don't agree with this stacking so many all-stars on every team on the one team and then just blowing away in the finals all the time
yeah,
because you got
and I
no
feel like
competition.
the Raptors winning that finals is kind of what the NBA needed to kind of just throw in there to spice things
But
up.
like, why is it that like people look at Golden State and they don't get dogged on as much as like the Lakers do because they have LeBron? Is it just because LeBron's not liked by a lot of people?
Well,
Because like
yeah,
Lakers get dogged on a lot, and the Golden State is the biggest bandwagon team since in the last couple of years.
yeah, I feel like Golden State did get their fair share of people just saying like I hate Golden State, but they did have a lot of bandwagoners, but I feel like the Lakers do get a lot of love from a lot of people, like they're the fan favorites. But at the same time, yeah, LeBron is disliked by a lot of people.
I
And
don't like I like I like other teams. Obviously, my go-to team's always the Raptors. I always because I'm Canadian. It's not because I feel obligated to whatever, but I do like the team. I do
I
like the
like
Raptors just because it's the only Canadian team, and I do
and
like them.
I just love how the Raptors, it seems they can pick up anyone and they can utilize them so well. I don't know what it is. The Raptors have always been able to do it. They pick
They
up
got good coach. They've had good
Pascal
coaches.
Siakam. Yeah, they pick up Pascal Siakam, a nobody. He was literally a nobody coming into that team, and all of a sudden, he's most improved player, and he's playing unreal in the NBA Finals. You pick up Fred VanVleet, an undrafted player, a nobody, utilized and performs well in the NBA Finals.
This this year they need to pick it whatever's going on this part of the season.
Yeah. And
They need to figure it out.
Kawhi was a big help for them, obviously. I mean, Kawhi's Kawhi, but at the same time, you also didn't see the Clippers doing much last season. So, and the Clippers picked up Kawhi. I feel like the Raptors can literally pick up anyone and just be able to utilize them for what they have so well. I don't know what it is about them, but they can utilize any player no matter how good or bad you are. They can
Fe-
put you in a spot where they know how you perform. Um,
It
and
comes down to feel
I
like
feel like that's why they won the championship finally.
the coaching staff as well. Like
Yeah.
having good coaching staff helps with that.
Oh
At the
yeah.
end of the day, you got to be able to manage your players. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the whole trade with DeRozan, getting rid of DeRozan for Kawhi, it was it was a risky move because everybody knew Kawhi was just going to leave. Everybody knew Kawhi was using the Raptors as kind of a gateway to his next team, just kind of a layover spot. But it was a risky move because I said before, I said if the Raptors don't win a championship, if the Raptors don't win a championship with Kawhi, then this whole trade would have been for nothing because Kawhi would just leave the next season, and then the Raptors now are without DeRozan, without Kawhi, without a star player, and they have no championship still.
Yeah.
So they would have just moved a step back, but they won a championship with them, so it's not as bad now. It was worth it in the end. But yeah, they do have some building to do after losing that star player to kind of lead them. But they just need to kind of get a role player, a main role player back in there, and I feel like they can get their team back.
They can do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Raptors. They're not doing great. I understand people are probably gonna dog on them right now because they're like, oh yeah, the Raptors are going like 8-2 or whatever they are. They actually are playing right now, actually. So see what happens tonight. Hopefully to get another win.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, I feel like LeBron is just disliked. Well, a lot of it has to do with the GOAT debate as well, who is the greatest of all time. I feel like that brought a lot more hate to LeBron than what it did good for him.
Yeah.
The debate, because people now, since people are comparing him to Michael Jordan, people just despise him now because they just think that Michael Jordan is the best. There's no way LeBron is better, and they just don't like him for it. Any old basketball fans, not like old, but like people who watch Michael Jordan in his prime live, are probably gonna say Michael Jordan
Yeah, just because
for
of
all
his.
time.
Yeah. Michael
It's
Jordan definitely had more of the older players have more of a story than what newer players have now. I feel like
oh
the older
yeah,
players, all of them seem like they had a story.
yeah, but the debate is hard. Like who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron? It's a completely different time, completely different. People are much more skilled now, so it's hard to tell. It's hard to come to a decision who is the better player. Because a lot of people will say Michael Jordan. The majority of people I think would say Michael Jordan, but then a lot of people would also say LeBron. It's just one of those things where it's like you just don't know. It's hard to tell because yeah, they played in completely different eras where completely different skill set. The game has changed 100% changed now than what it is when
Compared to
Michael
what it
Jordan.
was. Oh, 100%. So way better.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut it here for 1 second
Mm-hmm.
because I want to see something. I want to pull up OBS. And I want to, yeah. And then now we can start again whenever you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Ready to go?
This is the start.
All right.
Yeah, so want to transition a little bit here, just because keep it interesting, keep it flowing, but at the same time, not keep it flowing on all the one topic. We're 23 minutes in. We're coming in hot with the basketball. I understand. For those of you who like that, then there you go. We'll throw in some daily clips.
Some daily clips of
Not
our
some
own
daily
life.
clips, but some tips and some stuff, some highlights that's been going on in the sport world every now and then, just because this is the bench warmers,
Is
got
the
to talk
bench warm?
about the bench warmers, the people
You're
who
living.
warmed that bench.
We warm the bench.
We've been there. We've all been there.
All
But
been. We've all been a bench warmer. It comes.
yeah, it's there. I mean, at the end of the day, if you were there in high school or maybe you went on to play in college or whatever, but at the end of the day, when you finish up, if you don't move on from there, like you said, there was this saying, it's like 5 years you can say I was a sixth man, and 10 years you can say I was a starter, and basically that's what my point is that like if you played the sport, you played the sport, and I apologize, my mic's been on the screen the whole time. I'm sorry, but yeah, if you played the sport, you played the sport. It's just sports are kind of fun.
So yeah, we're we'll talk about sports every now and then, and if we don't want to talk about sports, then we won't. If there's nothing interesting going on in the sports world, then we just won't talk about it. But if there is, like the whole James Harden thing, then we're gonna talk about it. But
You know? Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much it for the basketball.
I
And
wanted to. What was that?
we're
Oh no.
oh,
Oh gosh. We're
oh
just
god,
see. This is what happens here. See, we just get into this thing. Next
yeah,
thing
and
you
then
know, now we're just talking and talking, and we're end up. Why is that? I've got like that on the phone, where it's like you talk. Why is you can never time it? You're always on perfectly good time when you're on the phone, and you always go like, "Yeah," and then you pause, and you're like, and it,
I hate that. And you're like,
but
wait,
then
wait,
you,
wait, wait. Go ahead. You go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you go ahead.
yeah, but like
Uh,
you're talking at the same time, but then like you pause longer because you're waiting for them to talk, and then you go to talk, and then they talk at the same time as you again.
for
I'm like,
some reason,
how?
everybody has the same pause time.
Yeah.
Everybody pauses for the same amount of time. Because what's happened in my brain when that happens is I pause and then I'm like, I'll wait for them to speak. And it's like, okay, but they're giving me the go ahead. Oh, maybe okay, I'm gonna start speaking. And then but as I'm thinking this, they're thinking the same thing. They're thinking the same thing. They're thinking I'm giving them the go ahead, which I am.
Some people just power through it. Like
Oh,
once you
some
start
people
talking at the same time, then they're just like, yeah. So, but sometimes you got to do that. But most of the time, I feel like the go-to right now, like what I do, is just like go ahead.
yeah.
You know what I
But
mean?
yeah, you got those people who are just like they will never give the go ahead, no matter what.
Yeah, they're
They're
just powering through it.
persistent. They're like, you're gonna talk we're gonna talk at the same time. Yeah, well, I'm gonna take the floor. All right, you
Yeah, and
got
then they start speaking louder.
they raise their voice. You're speaking at the same time. They're like, hey,
Yeah,
quiet.
like why? It's the same thing when you're when you're like walking in the same direction as a store as a store. You're walking as a store. You're
Store walker.
walking. The store is here, and you're walking with it.
You're
But
walking in the same direction.
yeah, as a store. But like when I'm in a store, like I was in Best Buy the other day, and there was a lady there, and then it wasn't even like we were in, because now with the arrows and stuff like that, so you gotta like go a certain way. But like we were kind of crossing like this, but we weren't like we were close to each other. I wanted to go this way, she wanted to go that way, and then I like stopped to let her go, and then she stopped to let me go. So I went, and then she started to go, and then it's just like, why are we waiting at the exact same time? Just you take a step, and then you get in this awkward moment where you're like, you take like a half step, and you almost fall down.
Yeah,
You take this like half step, and you're like, oh, like you're pump
super
faking.
unbalanced. Yeah, you're just
Yeah,
super unbalanced in those situations for some reason. I don't know. It's like I lose sense of where I am.
yeah, cause like I'm like, go ahead, and then they're like, nah, you go ahead. Like no, I said you. It's like not like we're at an intersection and we're like I wave you on. You're like no, you wave me, and then no, we're not waving to each other. You just go in front of me, and then
I absolutely hate when that happens. I'm like, okay, we're at a stops intersection, four-way intersection, and okay, I'll give them the wave on. We get there at the same time. I'll give them the wave on. They look at me. They have the audacity. They look at my hand waving, and they wave me on. It's like, no, I waved you on for a reason.
you have to
You
stand your ground. Or
yeah,
a lot of times, the best way to do it, I think, is not even the wave. Just flick the lights, and then they just know.
giving them a good old
Because
blind.
I've had people like flick their lights, and then that way, then you just know. But a lot of times, which is not the way it works. There's some people. It's not for you guys in the necessarily. I don't know if it's like for you guys in the States, but there's four-way stops, like with a stop sign, and not with a red light. Because, yeah, that's a completely different situation. And you guys can't do that in the States. I'm pretty sure you guys can't turn right on red or turn right on red lights. We can.
Yeah, some places you can't. I don't know if the States is one of those places, but we can turn.
I think yeah. So the way it works is that once you go up, if you're in a right hand turn lane, if you're turning right and you pull up and the light turns red, you can treat it like a stop sign. So you basically stop, look to make sure nothing's coming, and you can turn right. You can't turn
So,
left on a red light. That's just crazy
no,
because you're turning
yeah,
on your blind side.
animal then.
But you can turn. That's how you get T-boned. Uh, you can turn right on a red light. But some people at a four-way stop, they figure that if you're turning left, they tend to let you go. But it's not the case. It's still who gets there first. But I
Yeah.
literally heard someone say that, like, oh, well, if you're turning left, you let that person go. I'm like, not how it works. But you can, to be courteous and let the
Yeah.
person go. But
But it's whoever
because
gets
if you're
there.
both going straight, you can go at the same time. Like if you're going like this. But if you got
Yeah.
someone here with their signal light on going to go this way or going to turn left. If you get someone on with their signal light going to turn left and you got someone the other way that's going straight. If they get there first, they can still go even if they're turning straight, even if they're going straight. You don't have to
Yeah.
wave the person on that's going left. That's not how it works. I
No.
don't know.
Well,
Some people figure that's right. It's not
no.
right.
No. You just whoever gets there first, you just go through.
It's a four-way
And another
stop, so
thing
it
I hate
works.
is the awkward. You're kind of you're driving down the street at a normal speed, and somebody's kind of like walking up to the edge of the road as if they were going to cross. But they're just standing there for some reason,
They pump
looking
fake
at
it.
all the traffic. Yeah, as if they're going to cross. They pump fake you. They're like, they're looking at the traffic as if they're going to cross, looking back and forth. And then you stop for them, and they just keep waving you on. It's like, why are you standing right next to the road, looking as if you were going to cross the street? You could have crossed the street, and I would have had no questions. Then you also got those people who don't look like they're going to cross the street, but then you're coming in, and they just start like they just kind of like they do a little fake it, and then they start crossing the street,
Yeah,
and you're
because
like,
there's some people that find it awkward to cross the road when there's traffic coming because they don't want to make the whole traffic stop. So what they do is they get up to the thing and they see there's traffic coming, so they do a little pump fake. But what I normally do is that like if I'm gonna cross the road, like you for one, if you're crossing the road, we're talking about crossing like on an actual crosswalk thing. If you're going to
mhm,
cross the road on a crosswalk, you're a pedestrian. You have the right of way. So why don't you could just literally just face the road as if you're going to walk and traffic will stop. I don't know why people
yeah,
have to throw like the pump fake in. Like they're
yeah, I
going to
know that,
cross and then they turn off. Or
yeah,
they're like just looking, like standing there like this.
yeah,
And I'm like, "Dude, what are we doing here?"
yeah, and then you got those people who like unnecessarily slam on their brakes to stop for you. It's like I'm waiting to cross the road, and this guy is coming in full tilt. You can go on through. You're gonna take like 2 seconds to pass me. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But if you're coming like 40, you're coming 40 kilometers per hour, 50 kilometers per hour, and they just see you last minute and they stamp on it. Now it's taking me longer. In fact, if you would have kept going, it would have been faster.
But
But
crosswalks can be dangerous because just because like the ones that's actually at a set of lights and you press the button and you can walk, like
yeah,
those are better because I feel like all crosswalks should have it because if one person on this side sees you, this person on this side might not see you. That's the
so
dangerous
you have
part.
sometimes a situation where you got to kind of stop in the middle of the road. Like one person will let you go, you got to walk past. Then you kind of got to stop in the middle to take another glance. And it kind of, if there is a car coming, then you're holding up two sides of traffic longer than what it needs to be. So yeah, it's safer to have those
Lights.
blink lights up because it gets a little crazy, especially on busy roads.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like you got it's just what I have. I think it's just safer, you know.
Yeah. So that was crossing the street. I don't know how we got to crossing the street, but yeah.
It's,
Um, uh,
it's a
here's a
dangerous
weird
world.
story. I was biking to work one day. I can drive now. This is when I was a young lad. Well, not that young because I was working. But I was biking to work one day, and the fastest way to get where I worked was to cross a highway, cross a freeway, as you would say in the U.S. of A. Is to
United
cross a
States of
highway.
America.
So people, you're not supposed to stop on a highway for someone, and this was just a single lane highway. It was no double lanes. So actually, it might have been a double lane. I think it was a double lane. Um, so yeah, you're not supposed to stop on a highway for a pedestrian because it's unsafe,
You can
and you
actually
can
get a ticket. It's called impeding
yeah,
traffic.
yeah. So, anyways, you never see it. Nobody ever stops for you on the highway. It's just weird. I was crossing on my bike, and this guy, I was waiting for the traffic to go by as I always would because that's what you're supposed to do. And this guy stopped for me on the highway.
Yeah,
And I just looked at him. I was like, "What are you doing?" I crossed the road anyways because I didn't want to keep him there longer. But yeah, he stopped for me on the highway. It was so weird. But yeah, it was just a weird experience
because
that I
it's
had.
like you can just get someone jammed into your rear end that way.
Oh yeah,
That's why you're
and you
not.
don't want
That's
that.
why it's not allowed. It's dangerous.
Yeah, you don't want any rear end jamming because
That would just be
jamming into,
yeah.
start jamming into the rear end too much, and now you got a problem.
That's when technically, I guess you would need a camera there because if he hit you from behind, technically the dude that hit you from behind's in the fault if you have no proof that you were stopped.
Yeah, I don't know how that works because
How do you
you
know that buddy was stopped? Because the guy in the person the person that got hit in the back could easily say I wasn't stopped. So I don't know how they
yeah,
prove it.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
I don't know if you can prove it based on impact. Because obviously, if you're
Yeah.
stopped versus you're going, I mean, if you're stopped and some car hits you at 70
Yeah,
kilometers,
I
I'm
feel like on the
talking,
highway, there's no like on a highway like that, there's no really excuse that you could have. Like, what are you gonna say? There was no turn off at that location. Like,
yeah, why were you
what are you gonna say?
stopped?
I was gonna stop the turn off. Well, too bad. You're getting fined.
Yeah, you you don't matter, dude.
You go into jail, mate.
Yeah, basically,
Go into the
put in a
clink.
slammer. You know, have a cup of Joe. Joe, you know,
Have a cup of Joe. Where did that start? And who was so into Joe that they had to? I'm drinking Joe
call
right
it
now.
cup of call it a cup of Joe. I feel like this shirt is borderline see through, and it's kind of not about it. So I probably shouldn't have wore this. It is what it is now. You know,
Well, we're too far into this to turn back now.
I mean, I don't think this is wrong. We're good. I think we're good.
I don't think I can see anything.
That's good. I mean, I wouldn't want you to see anything. I
If
mean,
I
I hope
if
you
I
can see something.
Yeah, if this is all black, then let us know in the comments.
Yeah,
But yeah, if I wanted you to see something, you'd know it because I would just be out here no shirt on at all.
yeah. And we could easily just do this audio, and then I could just be here, like, lying in my bed.
Yeah, but we're posting to YouTube and to Spotify, however that works. How does posting on Spotify work?
I'll figure it out somehow. Maybe, probably not.
It's
Speaking of
just you
that,
create.
um, speaking of you said seeing or whatever, I've been really into lately setting my alarm early so I can so I can cancel the alarm, end the alarm, and then go back to bed and then wake up at the
Oh,
normal time. I've been doing that a lot lately. I'll just set
I
my
actually I actually seen a well, I didn't just see it, but I seen a TikTok recently of a girl who said you should set your alarm at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that, or like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, sometime in the middle of the night, really. Well, it wouldn't be the middle, but sometime way before you're supposed to get up. And she said, then you get up and you wake up to an alarm, obviously. You get up and then you are pleased then with the fact you get up, you usually get up and you're like, I don't want to get up. But you wake up to that alarm in the middle of the night, and then you get up, and then you look at the time, and it's like 3 o'clock, and you're like, man, I have like,
That's what I'm
I have
saying.
like 5 more hours of sleep that I'm gonna love. And she said it's like the best sleep of your life. I've never done it,
Yeah,
but
I've did it. I've been doing it.
yeah, I feel like it's a really pleasant experience.
I've been
But
doing it.
where this COVID thing is on the go, and we can't be in schools and all that, I haven't used an alarm in a long. It's been a long time since I've had to been woken up early.
I've been going back and forth to work, so I know. So I
Yeah.
usually get up at like 7 to go to work. But like I get up at 7, but I set my alarm. I've been setting my alarm for like 5:30
Holy cow.
a.m. and then I just wake up and I'm like, "Oh,
You get an hour
yes."
of that amazing sleep.
then for some reason, when I get up at 7, I still feel like, oh. But then when I wake up at 7, it's usually like 6:55. But when I get up at 6:55, I feel more refreshed. I don't know. I just get up and I'm like, well, like
It's
once
almost
I get up out of bed, I feel more refreshed. I'm like, man.
yeah. It's almost like you've had a second chance to like feel better when you wake up.
But I'm telling you, once that alarm goes off and it's only like 5:30 a.m. You can't really do this if you sleep if you're in a house with someone else because the alarm's gonna wake them up too. And if they
But
don't need to get up. But what I
but you
mean is that like if you set it right when I set it and the alarm goes off and I just like here and then all of a sudden like I wake up and I'm like, oh, the alarm, and then you look at the time, you're like, oh man, it's only 5:30, right?
but that
So then
when
you
you
can.
think about when you think about it, that sleep when you want to go back to bed, you're lying in bed after your alarm goes off. You want to go back to bed so bad, but you're like, I just have to get up.
I don't
And
think about that.
you might take a 5-minute rest. That is the best feeling ever. You can just close your eyes back again, and to have that opportunity every morning at 5:30 and then go back to
That's what
sleep.
I'm saying. I
That's
could
where it's
easily
at.
get up at 5:30. I understand that. Like I could get up at 5:30 for those who like some people like to get up like a couple hours before like they go or like an hour or so before they go to work just because they like to have that time like to whatever. I am in a bad habit of waking up just the amount of time to get me to like to get for I need to leave. I don't get me wrong. I'm always like 20 minutes early for work because I don't like to get to work and like go right to work. I like to get to work and like be at work for a second and then start work.
Just take some air, you know.
What? What was
Just take
that?
some time to prepare. Let your body gargle and yeah.
Yeah, like I like to like when I get at work. Most people are the majority of people are at work early. But like if you show up at like if I start work at 8, but I usually get there at like 7:40. So if I get there at 7:40, then I have time to like just ready for work. I'm not like whatever.
Mentally prepare, physically prepare.
Yeah. Because and then there's other people there. You could talk to people that it's at work and whatever, and then you have this moment where it's like, all right, this is the gameplay or whatever. Instead of like if you show up at like 7:56, you got 4 minutes and you're rushed to get in the door, and then we're going right to work at 8. We start work at 8, and you're cracking right to it, right? Whereas me, like if you get there at like 20 minutes before, like 7:40, which is when most of people I work with get there, right? You get there and it's like then you can relax for a second. So I'd rather
Right.
relax at work than relax at home. That's just me in the morning. Like I'd rather be
I'm not
ready.
staying there after hours relaxing.
What was that? You
No, you said I'd rather relax at work than at home, and you said, well, that would be in the morning. It's like I in fact stay there after hours just to relax.
Yeah, like I relax at work. No, that's not what I mean. But like where like I'd rather be at work early and then being like, oh, okay, relax, get yourself in the mood for work, and then start it instead of like being at home twiddling my thumbs, just waiting, keep looking at the time when I gotta leave.
Yeah.
I'd rather just
No,
get up, get ready, go, and then be at work like 20 minutes early and being like, okay, I'm mentally prepared now.
yeah. Which makes a lot more sense because it's always the worst having to jump right into work when you get there.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? So,
Like I'm not even prepared for this. I'm not even half. I'm just half asleep, really.
yeah. So then you can wake up, or if you bring coffee to work or whatever, you have time to like get in the zone and talk to other coworkers that's there, especially when if you're working with them for a long time, you tend to want to be, talk to them, I'm not pulling a
I
Dennis Rodman over here. Like I was here for work, not to make friends,
hate people. Hate people. Never
Yeah.
talk to them ever.
Yeah, like, we make each other's lives easier. That's how you do it around here. But yeah,
So,
so if you haven't tried that with your alarm, give it a try.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Give it a try because it,
Just apologizes so like sympathetically. It's like I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I can already see the comments. Oh, yeah, look at the stereotypical Canadians. I understand, but like, I'm just sorry that I was
Just
stretching and I pulled away from the mic, and I don't want to be bad audio quality because that's a
I'm
pet
just
peeve of
sorry.
mine.
I'm sorry for everything that you just had to experience.
And we're recording through Discord. So if you hear what happens in Discord, and this is the best way to do it right now, but like if you hear the mic on Ian's end that's like kind of cut sometimes, is because what's happening is when I speak, it prioritizes my voice and then his voice gets low. That's why I've said like, that's why we try not to talk over each other, because if
Yeah.
not, one of us is going to be drowned out.
Yeah. So yeah, and if there's any audio quality issues on my end, then it's probably just the Discord internet issues or something like that. No, we haven't been having too many issues actually.
No, it's been
Uh,
pretty. It's been pretty good.
pretty good, better than ever, really.
Yeah,
It's worked good so far. The only pet peeve that we do have with Discord is this little green line. You guys will be able to see it on your when you're watching this podcast. But there's this little green outline that goes over the box whoever's speaking, and like whenever I make noise, it comes up. So that's a little annoying. If there is a way to take that out, let us know in the comments, because I did see a video one time where someone was recording a Discord call and they didn't have that. So I don't know if that was just an older model of an older Discord update of Discord, but or if that's something new that they added like within the last like year or so.
it could be.
Uh, I think that's probably what it is. I don't really know the reason
I
for
feel
it,
like
but
it's more for streaming purposes, like for when a viewer is watching, they want to know who's speaking. Like
yeah,
if you want to know
yeah,
who's speaking, it draws your attention to the person that's speaking.
right. Yeah, because sometimes if you don't have your camera on, it highlights the person who is speaking. You wouldn't know who is speaking unless like if you didn't know the person, obviously. If
Some people just
you
sound the
would,
same.
yeah, that too. So I can see it being helpful for that case, but I mean, when someone got their camera on, more than likely you can know who is speaking, but you never know.
Right. Once we get in the same geographical area, in the same room, then we want to have like the chair two camera set up
Yeah, well, it'll be better, which will come in.
the next year or so.
Yeah, our predictions will be end of this year. It'll happen, because it's all depending. Like I'm awaiting. I've applied to school basically, and I'm just awaiting to see if I'll get in. And then once
Once,
the place that I would be going to school is where Noah is living right now, so then we would have a studio set up, and it will be much better then.
oh, it'll be
But
way
where
better.
where I'm going to school now is much further away from. Uh, it separates us a lot. So
Yeah.
uh,
Like we're
if I
not trying to
do,
take like a day long drive or like a plane to get to
yeah,
where we're going. You know what I mean? So we can't really
yeah,
do that. So once that happens, we'll have like a camera thing, you know? So we
yeah,
won't
and
have
it'll
to
be
do
much
this
more higher quality.
communication thing.
Yeah, and by then hopefully we'll have the same mic setup and everything like that. It'll be quite professional once we get it all set up. But for right now, we wanted to get this going, get it started, so then when we do come to that point,
We're
we will
already
have
on the go, you know?
yeah,
We're out
yeah,
there.
we'll be established. We'll be
The
an established podcasting channel.
the biggest thing is yeah, just getting out there. Like if you're gonna start something, just start it. Because I was gonna start this like 8 years ago, and then I just was like nah, and then I just never did it.
Yeah, but I guess now is the time to do it right now. So we're doing
2021
this.
year to get big.
2020, and hopefully we're gonna do this for a long time. That's the plan, anyways. We're gonna do this for a long time, and hopefully people will join in and watch us, and it will get better over time. The quality will improve, and uh, our ability to make these will get better over time. So yeah,
Right.
hopefully you guys tune in.
So that is episode 2 um, of the podcast, of the Bench Warmers podcast. I don't know when, like I said, when you'll see it when you see it, but yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, we'll probably get like an intro and stuff developed as well, so it'll be consistent throughout the episodes. We might do that, we may not, but we're gonna test some stuff out and try different things. But for right now, you have joined us on the second episode of the Benchwarmers, and we hope that you enjoyed. We got a bit of sports in there today, basketball talk,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that's a part of our channel. So we're gonna be talking about some sports. We're gonna be talking about a couple different stuff, everything really. We're just gonna speak on everything. If something cool happens, we're gonna talk about it. If something weird happens, we're gonna talk about it. And if something sports related happens, we will talk about that as well. If you couldn't guess.
Yeah,
So
so you can follow us on our trash media on all of our social medias
that
at
is at
TR at
ERSHMEDIA.
trash
That's
media.
track. That sounded very
TR
nice.
SHMEDIA. You can follow us on those on our social medias, and we'll see you when we do. And yeah, catch you guys next time.
See you later.
Peace.